agenda, their call for pecuniary interest regarding the agenda. I believe there's anything. Nobody has anything, and there's nothing in the camera, so we'll go to the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions? Anybody have anything? No?
I feel like there is an in camera, but yeah, like I don't know what it's about. Is it about anything to do with like the subdivision stuff? Do you need to move it like ahead? Okay.
A little different request tonight.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, sometimes we do that where we get ahead of ourselves. Perfect.
Okay. Motion to accept the agenda as is. Motion. All in favor? That is carried. Adoption of previous minutes for the regular minutes for December 17th, the whole January 14th. Are there any errors or omissions? Anybody has anything? No. Motion to adopt the minutes.
I can move those minutes.
Thank you. All in favor? That is carried. So, we're going to go to the auditor appointment here right away. Cindy, you want to talk about that at all, or?
We just need to appoint the auditors for the 2024 year, so JAM Accounting Group, or formerly St. Arnaud Hinson, have been our auditors in 2020. We've built a very strong relationship with the firm, and they've been extremely accommodating, and we like working with them, and they like working with us. So their quote was for $15,000 for the audit of the 24 financial statements, the FER and the parks. So that is the same amount as we were billed for in 2024. So their fee hasn't gone up.
Okay.
And just for everyone, like when we switched to them, I want to say that our previous one quite a few years back was at like 19 or 20.
Yeah.
So,
And the first year was quite a bit higher just because of.
sure, but yeah, like it's just like I feel like it is a good price. We're getting.
Yeah, we are.
Compared to our prior auditors and every other auditor I've got, I feel like it's a pretty good.
Yeah, and now it goes super smooth. Like they get a binder when they come in, and it's got all the information they need, and they hardly ask me any questions anymore. So it's nice.
Yeah, it makes it okay. Any discussion?
Do we have to appoint someone by name as well, though?
Yeah, the JAM. So no, just the JAM Accounting Group.
Yeah, you don't have to do an individual by name.
No.
Okay.
Well, Jeanette, if you want. Jeanette.
Okay, any discussion?
If she has a name, I'll just do it because I think we are supposed to, and then just in case it's covered.
Jeanette Adams.
Okay, I move to appoint Jeanette Adams with JAM Accounting Group LLP as auditors for the 2024 fiscal year.
Good, all in favor? Good. Good. All right, so then the next order of business is 8.2, the Veteran Ministers President Summit and Municipal Leaders Caucus, and this is kind of caught my eye the other day. We were looking at it. They sent it out here, and they have it's a 3-day thing. Corey and I looked at it, and certainly don't want to attend 3 days in there. But on the if you look on the agenda there for Thursday, which is March the 6th, they have a pardon me?
Like right the middle day as well.
Yeah, in the middle day as well. You're going to go for 2 days?
No,
No, just it's the middle day. Yeah.
Sometimes the first day is kind of a light day, and sometimes the last day, it's actually kind of a full good day as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be very beneficial to the town. They've got an hour talk about water, what's happening with the province. They also have municipal affairs. McIver is going to address everybody. Smith is going to make a speech, and also the opposition there, the Ninji, or what is it? Yeah, he's going to say something. The cost would be $215 for Corey and myself, and plus mileage. So we're not staying overnight. We're just driving there first thing in the morning. We're going to attend these, and they've also got some breakout sessions there. One is about the we're just looking at them right here now. Healthcare is the one. And also there's one regarding the, I believe about the election coming up. So I think it'd be very beneficial. So, does anybody have any questions on that? I know that, when it comes to the AMA in the fall, you know, it's a 3-day thing and it's about $800 and it's,
Hotels and all
you're looking,
You don't have to
I think
justify
it's
it.
pretty good, bang for the buck, I think it's pretty good, so.
And just given the timing of some of our other things, I feel like it's gonna be very beneficial.
And, that's about it. Any questions, anybody?
Bring us back some good information.
Okay.
I should make a
Do
motion,
you
yeah.
book, can you book time to get a session with one of the premiers, or how does that work at the end when they have to
I don't
dialogue?
think there is with this one, though.
No.
I think if you can get lucky and corner them.
Yeah, I guess so.
When the premier speaking, there's usually, more than that, more than one or two, you know, staffers and ministers around, so.
Okay, Corey made a motion.
Oh, I said somebody should, I don't know.
Somebody else should, yeah. John?
Approve you guys to,
Thank
the
you.
logistics there for the fees for the day.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Done. Well, hopefully we'll, see what they have to say. 8.3, development permit request for decision. I guess, say, Donna, you wanna take us through this with, Liz, I guess?
We can, I'm definitely gonna turn it over to Liz, but I'll just kind of brief council a little bit. You can remember when, we asked, for, direct control and subdivision back when, and, that was all approved by council. So, we couldn't bring this development plan to you until subdivision that you had authorized was, on land titles, and we got word in January, the subdivision is duly registered, so this way we can bring this development plan to you for lot 10. I will, turn it over to Liz, our planning and development, contract professional. Liz is gonna walk you through this, and, because of direct control. So, Liz, please, the floor is yours.
Excellent. I am not going to read this report word for word, unless you guys want me to. Instead, I'm planning on taking you through the highlights of the information. You guys have completely frozen on me. Am I still being heard by you guys, or?
Yeah, you're good. We can see you too.
Okay, perfect. So unless you guys really want me to, I'm not going to read it to you word for word. I'm going to take you kind of through the highlights of this presentation and what you are being asked to approve tonight. Ultimately, this is a development permit application for a development in a direct control district. So the reason council is seeing this tonight is that it is a direct control district, which is the only type of development that council has authority under the Land Use Bylaw and the Municipal Government Act to make decisions on. So you will see tonight, really, you guys have seen over the last year, the start of this project all the way from a land use redesignation to a subdivision to now a development permit. So tonight you will see an application for a multi-use building with ground floor residential and small scale manufacturing, as well as a separate greenhouse on the same property. Council approved the redesignation in July of 2024, and now we're at the next step. So it is important to note that as a direct control district, the decision of council on a development permit cannot be appealed to the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board once it is signed by the mayor. So the site context is that the site is bordered by the active CP rail to the north. And when I say active, in our definitions in the land use planning world, it's active. Although I understand that trains aren't running on it, it is still deemed active through all of the paperwork that exists. So we have to treat it as such when we review the application. The property is within the commercial core of the downtown. It's been previously vacant. And ultimately, the applicant has applied for a very unique mix of residential and commercial uses. And typically, we don't see a commercial use necessarily with a residential on ground floor. So it's very unique, which is a perfect reason for it to come before council as a direct control district. The applicant will be making a product that uses that's called Skedatter products. It's a natural product made with rosemary oil and dried rosemary, and it's used to regulate pest management. It's also a registered trademark, and in addition to that, there's a proposed residential dwelling unit and small-scale manufacturing facility on the subject parcel. They're also proposing a 3,000 square foot greenhouse. The greenhouse will be seasonal, and in the summer they plan to sell trees, shrubs, perennials, and at Christmas time they might use it for seasonal greenery and products as well. In considering a recommendation to council for this, we have looked at the alignment with the MDP and have reviewed the policies and objectives of the municipal development plan. In particular, it builds on the policies outlined in Part 5, which are commercial development, and it notes the idea of encouraging new commercial within the town, and this does that. And it was also reviewed against the industrial policies in Part 6 in support of small-scale manufacturing. So this also aligns with that. The CP rail line, which I briefly touched on, is a critical component of reviewing this application. The CP rail was circulated this application, but no response was provided. The applicant has provided information noting that the line through Thorsby may be impacted by CP rail's discontinuance plan. However, that is not the current situation at this time, which we have to evaluate it under. Given that CP has not responded to the circulation of the development permit and provided no further feedback to assist the development authority in rendering a decision, it makes it challenging. So thus, council, as the development authority, must determine if they feel a residential development and a industrial commercial development is in the proper proximity to a rail line, and if those risks. So the application was reviewed against the guidelines for new development proximity and to rail operation. The document speaks to the importance of consultation, mitigation measures related to noise, vibrations, and safety. The residential setback is close to the recommended minimum of 30 meters outlined in the guideline, and draft conditions for council's consideration also include the construction of an 8.3 meter chain link fence along the rear of the property to mitigate the risk of people shopping at this location going onto the tracks. That fence will not prevent a train from coming in to the property should there be a derailment, but it would limit the ability of visitors to the business and the residents to cross onto the tracks. So ultimately, if council feels that a larger rear yard setback would further mitigate this risk, they can amend the minimum approved setback and require an amended site plan be submitted as a prior to release condition. That said, this may make the development not feasible should the proposal as presented not be accommodated, as the residential building has been pulled as far possible to the front of that property already. So the subdivision, which we've talked about, again, as of January 2025, administration has received notice that the subdivision has been registered with Alberta Land Titles. Land use bylaw this overview goes over the compliance with the regulations in the bylaw, and it is in alignment with the direct control district that council previously approved. I do want to note that no outdoor storage is permitted to ensure minimal unsightly aspects, but the DC operating a greenhouse involves outdoor materials. I don't see that as storage. Storage to me is very different. So we're defining the sale of goods that will be located on the property, not to be storage, but rather part of the usage there. So the DC district limits the number of residential units to 1, which this development does as well. And it is important to note that there's no signage included within the development permit application. Therefore, when the applicant and the landowner come in for signage, they will have to come back and do another development permit that will have to come to council at that time. So in summary, the application aligns with the policies, regulations of the land use bylaw and the direct control district that council had previously approved. So ultimately, we recommend that the development permit 2024-02, subject to the approving conditions as outlined below, and as per the draft approved site plan and accepted floor plan, that the following be approved by council. And again, I'm not going to read each one of these. I note that there is still the yellow highlights in here. Those mean nothing at this point in time. They're more just highlights of these are the important things that need to happen. So the accepted floor plan dated, we'll insert the council date here, we'll insert that there. The prior to release conditions mean that those must be submitted to us prior to the development permit actually being signed off on by the mayor. So number 1 has been done, and number 2 has not been done at this point in time, as my understanding is they're no longer planning on bringing the house in until the spring. So those are just requirements that need to be done, and before that they can do anything else. So ultimately, you'll also see a copy of the actual development permit notice, which is there, and the mayor will sign it once we get to that point. And ultimately, we recommend that council approve the development permit subject to the following conditions as per the draft approved site plan and accepted floor plan. All of that content would be included in your motion. So it is abundantly clear that you are approving exactly that. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Somebody? Okay.
It doesn't really show it here, like, have we taken into account adequate parking and such? Like, it should, I mean, I see just lots of white space, it doesn't really show kind of any sort of parking details or layouts, or, just that street already gets cluttered enough, right? If they're planning on an excessive amount of street parking, it's probably not gonna be in anyone's best interest.
I am just looking at these drawings, and I do want to note that you've picked up on a really good point that parking is not on the drawings that are here. So I would actually recommend adding one more clause in the prior to release that parking be provided, an updated drawing illustrating parking in compliance with the land use bylaw requirements be submitted. I'm confident that there is enough room on there for parking given.
Yeah, I think there is, I just don't know, right? It's not really clear on the drawing. I mean, there's lots of white space that presumably is, but I'd hate to assume.
100%, that should be there. I think you've picked up on something great, and I would just add in a note into the, I would add prior to release condition number 3, provide updated site plan illustrating parking in accordance with land use bylaw requirements.
Okay. Anything else?
Does anyone have any opinions on the requirement for a fence or not? Like, I know like the other commercial building there, we didn't require it. I guess in my mind, the big distinction too is the residential component versus the commercial. Like, it is I mean, I don't care who's living there now or who plans on, I mean, it is a 2-bedroom thing. There could be, in all reasonable, likelihood, at some point, a child who lives there, and you don't need them playing on the train tracks. I guess that's kind of a factor in my mind. Whereas when it's just strictly commercial, I'd expect adults to be a little more
But
cautious.
there is a plan for a chain link fence.
Yes, but I mean, like, we didn't make G&N, so I mean, do we make them? I don't know, I guess it's a matter of making sure we're being equitable and fair with that. If we're making some people and we haven't made the last development, we didn't make grants.
If I may, the reason and the rationale for putting that in this one is, yes, the residential use makes this very unique, but also the patrons of a greenhouse interact with the property in a lot different way than the patrons of going into a commercial shop and a bay where the kids run free in greenhouses. Having a 9-year-old, knowing what they're like, it really is that the property will be utilized by more public in a very different way. So that's the rationale for proposing it in this area.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just, like I say, hate to be arbitrary with it is all. Are we saying just on the rear or on the sides as well, though?
The fence.
Rear.
Corey, are you wanting to make it optional, or?
Well, no, I'm saying that if we're doing it, I mean, I'm saying that we've, in the 2 prior occasions in recent history, not made them do it, but I understand there's a distinction here because it's residential if nothing else. So I'm personally thinking it's a reasonable precaution to include here. But if we're gonna have a fence along the back, would it not make sense to have some sort of a, like also on the sides for some distance as well? I mean, if a kid is at the greenhouse is the concern, running around, doing what kids do. I mean, Grayson can, you know, make it around the corner of a fence in an awful big hurry. I mean, it's, you know, if we're gonna say, you know, 5 or 10 meters to the front, like on the sides as well, maybe, I don't know, like just something to create that barrier. Otherwise it becomes a not very real barrier.
I think we could put in there a chain link fence. This is clause number 13. A chain link fence that is a minimum of 1.83 meters must be constructed along the rear of the property line and the side property lines to provide a safety barrier between the development and the rail line to the satisfaction of the development authority, or sorry, to the satisfaction of the development officer. And that gives us the ability to work with them for how far forward they need to bring it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with that. 'Cause I mean, obviously, you just stop it. Just there's a, you know, a round chain link fence post at the property line. I mean, it doesn't really stop you running around. I'm concerned, but how they want to deal with that, I'm sure there's lots of options.
Yeah. So you can put that in there as well, Liz,
Yeah.
then? Or for the 13th? Okay.
Height restrictions on the fence?
No, the restrictions are
Residential
on the side.
buildings, what kind of buildings, are they gonna be apartment buildings?
It's a single floor, but it doesn't have an elevation. I don't know the height. Do you know the height? There's just a question from the gallery if we know the elevation height,
Of building?
the structure. Yeah, the primary structure.
Fence height he's talking about.
The fence height's one.
No, he's talking about the building.
The buildings themselves, how many stories?
It's 1 story, but I don't know that.
1 story?
It's a single family.
Okay.
Unit. It's not multi-family.
I am noticing that the draft approved site plan and the draft floor plan were not included in your package.
They are.
Yeah, they're here, Liz.
Where?
There's a floor plan, site plan.
The floor plan,
They're separate attachments. Yeah, they're just attached separately for us, Liz. So, like, I do see it, I just don't see an elevation on them. It's all like, it's just the site plan with, like, you know, that kind of rough floor plan in it.
do you guys have a picture of the building?
No,
Not the outside of the building, no.
no, there's no exterior, like, elevations or any details. like that.
Okay, we need to get you those. I'm gonna pull them up on my computer. Hopefully there's a way I can share.
Should be on the bottom, it should say present your screen, and it looks like a computer screen.
Okay.
Right by the red phone button, Liz, to share.
With the noise, of being residential in a commercial zone, to me, I'm just wondering if they are gonna be okay with all the trucks making noise going to the stockyards and stuff.
They should be aware.
Yeah,
of
I
what
personally
they're
wouldn't be, but that's their decision, right? I mean,
Well, and then if you zone, or if it's okay to be residential, what if they move out and there's another residential, like these guys? But I'm just wondering.
caveat emptor, right, they should do their due diligence and know this trucking route. At a certain point, right, if somebody wishes to do a mixed use
I
there.
agree, they should be aware, but I just wondered if with your bylaws, noise bylaws, if it.
Yeah, there's different, like, there's different noise requirements in commercial areas, so,
So
yes,
which
they could have to
one
put up
would
with
apply
some,
to them?
the commercial, they could have to end up putting up with some excessive noise late at night,
Okay.
that's their risk, right?
I cannot find the share button. I can raise my hand.
Would this be Dome Zool, because it's residential?
No, it's still zone direct control.
Do you see? And I would, so, and then they sell, it's still.
Oh,
Yeah.
Those direct control.
there we go, now can you do it? There we go.
There you go.
Okay. Are you guys able to see this drawing?
Thank you.
Yeah, now we can.
Yeah, let's see the building.
So this is what the building is proposed to look like. It's not a great photo. It's quite small. The picture of it. And then you will see on here the height is 15 feet, 11 inches.
I want to say that's more or less the same as the adjoining building. Just, yeah.
Pretty close, yeah.
I mean, I can't remember his exact ceiling height, but it's probably close.
Very much is the applicant's responsibility to ensure safety codes will work for this. They are moving in a building. This exists somewhere else in the province, and they're going to put it on a truck and they're going to bring it in. They have to put it onto proper foundation, but to meet safety codes of a building that has more than one use is a lot more work than just having a residence. And so that is their responsibility. They will have to do that and work through that process with inspections group as the town's provider of safety codes.
Okay, thank you for that. Anything else?
I think the biggest thing I can say is we are doing a couple additions to this development permit based on the discussion tonight, the clause about the parking and the fencing. Should council wish, rather than approving it tonight, we could bring it back to your next meeting for an approval, so you'd see the complete one, or you can pass it with the verbal additions, and then that's fine too. But just if you guys want to see the final one before you make that decision, you are more than welcome to wait a week and render your decision then, or 2 weeks, sorry, whatever your next meeting is.
No, I mean, people like to get things moving. I mean, I'm fine with it if everyone else is okay with it. I just want to make sure I get the wording right. If there's a recommended wording somewhere in here or not. I'm just trying to find it here. Okay, so yeah, so we're happy with this wording other than adding 8.3 being the
Development permit 2024-02 is.
yeah, 0.3 being the
Consequently updated site plan parking.
yeah, parking and fence.
To be according to the land use bylaw requirements. And the fence constructed along the rear and side property to the satisfaction of the development officer.
And so for the motion, we don't need this whole, we need this whole big long, what else do we need for the motion?
In my experience, the motion will actually pretty much read out this whole thing, which is a lot, right? So I don't know, I would leave this to Donna's expertise on how she wants to reference that.
Your worship and council, I would concur with the planner's recommendation that this motion be long due to the fact that this is a direct control, due to the fact that this is residential commercial. I don't usually like long motions, but I think this is appropriate.
Okay. So I move to approve development permit 2002-402, subject to the following conditions and as per the draft approved site plan accepted floor plan. The applicant must complete the following prior to release conditions prior to the development permit being released. 1, provide confirmation of subdivision registration from Alberta land titles to the satisfaction of town administration. 2, provide confirmation of date of delivery of the house and a route map to satisfaction of town administration. It must be provided a minimum of 10 days prior to the building and must be approved in writing by the town of Thorsby. Please note that the unit cannot be transported into town of Thorsby on a Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. Point 3, an updated site plan be provided.
I have it up on the screen if that helps you to read 3.
Oh. Pardon me?
She has it typed.
Oh, sure. 3, provide site plan showing parking stalls in accordance with land use bylaw 2017-02. And then 4, sorry, just, yeah, do we want to include the fencing there? Just do it in point 13 down here. Okay, the application is approved subject to the conditions and requirements stated below. Development must be in accordance with the following documents / plans, which form part of the development permit. Accepted floor plan dated 28th of January 2025. Approved site plan dated 20th January 2025. This approval does not include any signage.
Hang on, where she added one, the approved shop plan.
Oh, see, approved shop plan, approved shop plans approved by council on January 2025. This approval does not include any signage. Signage proposed for this development will require separate development permit in accordance with land use bylaw. During the construction of the development, the applicant shall keep the site in a neat and orderly manner, shall undertake the work in a way to create a minimum amount of dust and noise. Prior to commencement of work, the applicant shall contact all utility companies for line locations prior to any excavating, 1-800-242-3447, and conform to all regulations required by the provincial authorities. Example, converted building codes administered by the town authorities, building inspection agency, and all federal authorities, including obtaining an approved building permit prior to construction if required. 5, the applicant is required to post security in the amount of $3,000 within 14 days of the date of this permit to ensure the completion of any repairs to town property. The town may draw the security costs of any required repairs to town property in the event that the applicant fails to complete the required repairs in the 30 days of being notified by the town that the town property has been damaged and must be repaired. Security shall be released by the town once all the required repairs have been completed to the town's satisfaction. If work commences before pre-inspection is completed by the town authority, all damages to town infrastructure noted on post-inspection will be attributed to this development, whether or not they have occurred as a result of this development. Any damages to town property is the responsibility of the applicant. 6, if the development authorized by this permit is not commenced within 12 months from the date of the issue of the development permit and completed within 3 years of the date of the issue of this development permit, the development permit is deemed to be void unless an extension of this period is granted by the development authority. The development permit requires the building be placed on a permanent foundation at the time of arrival to the property. 8, no outdoor storage is permitted on site at any time, with the exception of outdoor storage of trees, plants, and other greenery that is associated to the greenhouse use. 9, landscaping must be completed in accordance with land use bylaw. 10, all site lighting shall not result in off-site direct glare to adjacent properties and be fully shielded. 11, this approval does not include multi-vendor seasonal markets such as Christmas markets, etc. Development permit amendment will be required to allow for extension of existing uses to consider potential increased traffic, on-site employees, and loading volumes. 12, all parking areas shall be clearly marked, landscaped, and adequately with lighting away from adjacent sites, adequately graded and drained to dispose of all stormwater runoff, contain the necessary curb cutouts, and surface and matter to match the road or lane from which the parking area gains access. 13, a chain link fence that is a minimum of 1.83 meters must be constructed along the rear property line to provide a safety
I
barrier.
edited this one. If you read this one from the screen, you'll have it right.
Construction along the property line, side property lines to satisfaction of the development officer to provide a safety barrier between the development of the rail line.
You're all looked at.
Almost.
Final grade certificate signed by an Alberta land surveyor shall be submitted to confirm that the grading of the lot is constructed as per the submitted and approved lot grading plan. 15, a real property report signed by the Alberta land surveyor shall be submitted within 30 days of final construction. 16, the following setbacks are in place for the subject development and must be met in accordance with the approved site plan and as follows. Front yard setback of a minimum of 1.8 meters for the multi-use building. B, front yard setback of a minimum of 5 meters for the greenhouse. C, side yard setback of a minimum of 6 meters from the western property line for the multi-use building. D, a side yard setback of a minimum of 3 meters from the eastern property line for the greenhouse. E, a rear yard setback of a minimum of 27 meters from the rear property line for the multi-use building. F, a rear yard setback of a minimum of 8 meters from the rear property line for the greenhouse. And G, a minimum setback between the multi-use building and the greenhouse of 15 meters. 17, development must be in accordance with the land use bylaw 27 and more specifically direct control district 202401 and all town authority bylaws and policies together with any other applicable provincial or federal laws and regulations. 18, any changes to the development permit approved under this development permit will require a new development permit.
Wow. Glad you're a speaker. Thank you for that, Jerry. Does everybody understand what was going on? Okay.
That was a motion.
You're making a motion?
I'm agreeing.
No, you gotta.
I'm agreeing. On favor?
Favor. There you go. Okay, well, thank you for that. I know this, there's a lot of work onto this. I know, Brent Johnson on the land registers, he got caught in the Canada Post, and we had resubmitted about 3 or 4 times, and there is a lot of.
Oh, I'm sure they wanna get this kind of underway, they can't start planning stuff when they're waiting in limbo for a permit, right, so.
Okay, that's all you need, Liz?
Did you guys, vote on the motion? Okay, I missed that.
We did.
It's like after reading that, you better make sure you vote.
You're
All right, I'm good. Thank you so much. We will insert the roll number, get some dates in there, and then get it off for signatures here from the mayor.
All right, thank you for that, Liz, and thanks for,
Absolutely. I
attending
hope everyone
tonight.
has a wonderful night. Thank you so much.
all right, thanks, Liz. Okay, 8.4, Industrial Inquiry Commission reviewing Canada Post. So we, got a letter, Donna, do you want to go through the gist of this thing here?
Basically, thank you, Your Worship. Basically, Canada's Post is under review through Section 108 of the Canada Labour Code. And Minister of Labour Stephen McKinnon ordered the resumption of mail service, but they, under Section 108, he also created an Industrial Inquiry Commission led by William Kaplan that will work with CUPW and Canada Post to examine the future of the public post office with a very broad scope. The scope is reviewing Canada Post financial situation, possible diversification or alteration of delivery models, viability, bargaining issues, full-time employment, health, safety, job security, and of course, the report is due May 15, 2025. They want to start hearings January 27th, although with the prorogation of Parliament, I think they're going to be a little behind with that. But they want third parties to send in written submissions to the Commission as part of the public review. And CUPW and Canada Post must have their bilingual submissions into the Commission by the end of Monday, January 20th. So this just got here, so this isn't delayed on our part. They do not have a data mechanism yet for third-party submissions, but it could be soon. So we're still in that mix. CUPW would like to ensure that views of community groups, municipalities, allied organizations, and labor are considered, so we're on that list. Should council require us, administration, to draft a submission, we will contact Bridget Klassen, so more details can come on how to send it to the Commission when they have more information. So CUPW's bargaining demands are they want to keep Canada Post a public service. They want to maintain universal service at a uniform price, whatever that means. Expanded services to diversify and generate new revenue, no service cuts, so they want to add financial services. Maintain the moratorium on post office closures to enable community hubs. Sales of local crafts, community gardens, government service for all levels of government. I don't know what that has to do with Canada Post. Maintain door-to-door delivery and increase where financially viable. I think they're a little, I'll save my comments, sorry. Major changes to Canada Post should not be made without full public consultation. So what this is a consultation document. So then they have on page 2 what they mean by all this, keep it a public service. So they want to remain a Crown corporation that's broke, a Crown corporation. They want to maintain the universal service. What they mean by expansion of services and new revenue streams is they want to create revenue streams as direct means to handling decline in letter volume. So many of the services such as postal banking already exist in many other post offices around the world, and they generate significant revenue. 12 billion people hold postal bank accounts. Providing new services through existing corporate retail network ensures that they do not outline this well enough, in my opinion. Of course, financial services, they want postal banking, community service for those who are underbanked or have their financial institutions close and leave towns, out of these villages, that sort of thing. I'm not sure that's viable in rural Alberta and Saskatchewan, but you can forward those comments. Excuse me. Community hubs, what this means is, one of the demands is to have the flexibility to close more than 130 of the 493 corporate retail post offices that are currently protected. They're post offices that are run by Canada Post, but not franchises. Problem is from this, it does not serve rural Alberta. Council may wish to consider stop the door-to-door service in the cities and provide better rural service. Excuse me. So there's 1,994 mooring, the 1994 mooring terminal closures where, they could end up privatized or disappear altogether if they lose the contract language. So you may wish to visit that to make a decision. Senior check-in service could bring peace of mind to loved ones who don't need to live nearby. Let me see. I'm just gonna, door-to-door postal workers are already watchful for signs that something isn't right. There could be a lot of extra time in their routes to check in on seniors, people with mobility issues. I'll just read it. So, it gives you information on the Industrial Inquiry Commission. And that's basically, there's a resolution, what they want, and the mailing information for this. So that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, Corey?
This is the most delusional crap I've read in a long time.
That's why I thought I'll just shut up.
They, in their little, right here, they, for example, they go out like here to say that they don't rely on tax money, that they are revenue neutral, and that they pay for themselves. It's ridiculous. Financial services would be cute if this was still the 1980s. Amazon is cheaper and always will be and gets it to my door the next day. They will never get a bigger share of the parcel market than they already have. It will decline further, not get bigger, especially at the fairly bloated cost that they have. They will never be competitive. This is all delusional and wishful thinking. I couldn't support anything that they're asking for here.
Yeah, so I kind of agree. I mean, you look at the one page, there's 1, 2, 3, it's about 8 motions actually is what they're looking for, the whereas and, but really what their big gist of the whole thing is that they want to remain a public company, right?
They want to remain getting wildly overpaid for a job that someone will do for $18 an hour working for Amazon.
So you're suggesting we just stay out?
I'm saying that this is none of our business, but I do not support anything they're asking for, and it's just good money after bad.
Anybody else have any comment on that? I think, I mean, not saying our little comments will make any difference or not, but what's gonna happen is what's gonna happen, right?
I agree. Like I say, it's gonna do what it's gonna do, but I don't think we need to spend much time writing a response or a support for it.
Didn't the government just give them $1 billion?
Exactly, but no, but they're revenue neutral. They pay for themselves here, apparently.
Doesn't cost anything to rent.
Yeah, in which decade are they referring to? Like, since how many has it been this century? Have they even been revenue neutral yet?
Exactly. You know, Your Worship and Council, the problem with this is, Cup W will do anything to protect the urbans. This is what this is ultimately all about. And shut down all the post office in the rurals, right? Now, as far as doing senior check-ins and that sort of thing, you can only do that in the cities and towns because you're doing door-to-door delivery. Why would you ask a postal worker to do that? It makes no sense to me, but they want to do some little community service here. The other thing they're talking about here is, banking, generate new revenue streams. How about fixing the revenue stream you have now? How about starting to form a profit?
Yeah, do something good for, do something efficiently, and then you can talk about new revenue streams.
100%. And of course, they're gonna close another 130 of the retail post offices. So where are they gonna close them? I guarantee it's in the rural areas. The only thing I would, and I agree with council, so I'm not disagreeing with you, the only thing I might consider, or I might consider suggesting, would be you haven't in your not you folks, sorry, but in this document, they haven't delineated between what they're gonna do for rurals and what they're gonna do for urban, because it's 2 separate unions too. So it's Cup W representing the urbans, because the rurals have a different union, and some of our small post offices have a different union.
There's 6 different.
Yeah, 6 different unions. So you got the guys that drive the trucks, the guys that build the trucks, So, I don't have a problem with you staying out of it. Saves me a bunch of work, but I'm prepared to, write one of my famous letters if you would like me to. I'm fine either way.
They can do what they want, because I don't open letter mail either way, and if I order something online, Amazon delivers it to my door next day.
Yep, I agree.
I still like the cards in the mail.
have anything to do with this council anyway.
Exactly,
By the time the
yeah.
unions get through with it, it'll be a big mess anyway.
But it's the union asking us to write a letter supporting them.
Yeah, I know, but
And so they formed a commission and acquired, it's gonna take 8 or 9 months, and
No,
probably,
they only have till March.
Yeah,
well, in
is it March or May?
March.
May 15th,
it's really short.
They'll extend it, and it'll be what?
I don't really know, I think that was their way of saying like, they're kind of done with this. I feel like they gave the advance warning of that it was done on May 15th, and by the May 22nd, like, whatever the decision was is getting implemented. Like, they gave, right out the get-go, a very hard deadline for a reason, I feel like, because like, they know this election's coming up too, and they're not, keen on getting.
They wanted to coincide with the, leader, at the end of March, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I feel like they don't want to get lumped in with it.
Yeah.
So I feel like they actually will stick to that deadline.
It's about 4 million.
I know that the employees are frustrated because they feel like they striked and went without pay for however long and got nothing.
They got a lot of resentment and bitterness.
But they got nothing, right? They went,
No,
like, they had no pay for pretty much all of December and they got,
Their decision.
for no, oh, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know that they'll even strike again because they're like, we can't afford to.
Yeah, the rural carriers are the ones that get the worst end of this
Yeah.
because of the different unions. That's difficult. And the
Yeah, I
rural-
felt bad, like the post office here, they're just like scrubbing the walls and stuff, just trying to keep entertained, and
Yeah.
like, I get it.
Because they're a different union.
Yeah.
Yeah, bizarre, so,
Alrighty, so, you want a motion, just accept it for information?
absolutely, your worship, that's fine with administration.
Okay, motion from somebody for that? All in favor? That is carried. All right, bylaws and policies, 9.1, the, boring bylaw 2025-01, first reading. Cindy, we do
Yeah.
this every year,
Yeah, each year we have to do this as prescribed by the MGA. It requires the borrowing bylaw for the municipal line of credit of $1 million. The town of Thorsby has this revolving line of credit in the amount of $1 million to help cover cash flow needs in time of low cash flow, as the majority of revenue is collected in June. In the months leading up to the collection of tax revenue, the town occasionally relies on the line of credit to maintain operations. Administration recommends that council through resolution pass the first reading for the concurrent municipal bylaw.
and last year, did we use it last year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not as much as we had in previous years, but yes,
Yeah.
we did use it, yes, Cory.
Correct?
Because this is for the
Line of credit.
fiscal year, which is the calendar year, yes?
Yeah.
Because we always do it like well into January. Should we not move this just like as a kind of a process sort of procedural thing? Should we not be doing this in December each year?
No, the bank requires it by March 31st, and they always send it out at the beginning of January.
Okay, just because if it's for the fiscal year, I mean, technically, like, you should never be using the line of credit until,
Well, I don't, so it's fine.
no, like, it just seems silly, we should like have it in place for January 1.
Yeah.
Because, when I saw this today, I was thinking, like, we never do that, but
Yeah,
technically we probably should.
I mean, we can bring it forth in December.
Well, it just seems easier,
For
to
sure.
like, ready to go for the
I don't
the
think, but
fiscal
we have
year, I don't
to
know.
advertise it for 2 weeks.
2 weeks from today, and then back again for second and third in February.
I don't know, and, yeah.
Yeah, the bank is just, they just sent it out, what it, you can say it's that time of year again.
Yeah, just, I mean, technically, right, without this, there is no line of credit, and it's like technically.
Yeah, like we technically shouldn't be using it.
Yeah, technically, right, so I mean, I mean, that's great that we're not, but what happens when there is a frost heave that does bad things to pipes? Right, I didn't use the word, I didn't say it.
I'm still mad at you for the last one.
I don't know, just, something to think about, I don't know. It'll be next council's problem by the time we get to that point, but,
we have to put a sign up here that says no cursing and swearing.
I didn't use the word.
Yeah, I just, yeah, he sent it on like the 17th.
Okay, well, either way, I'll do first reading of bylaw 2025-01.
Thank you, all in favor? That is carried. 9.2, business license bylaw 2025-02, first reading for that one.
Your worship, the January 14th, 2025 committee of the whole meeting, administration presented you with the first draft of this bylaw 202502 business license. And during the meeting, the discussion was very thoughtful and fruitful. 2 changes were identified and corrected based on council's request. Section 14.1 was corrected to dictate that contractors must have an approved business license prior to receiving any permits required for work. This is different from principal contractors on purpose. For large construction projects with principal contractors and subtrades, administration will require that development be approved first, and a meeting conducted with administration to set clear guidelines between both parties. And the second one, numbering was fixed where there were inconsistencies. Based on those corrections, and if council is appreciative and so approves of those corrections the way they were written, and if council believes that we took your words in context, we recommend that council approve first reading of bylaw 202502.
Yeah, I wanted to go through it a little more thorough that I haven't had a chance to yet, but the second reading is for, so I guess we can do,
Exactly.
we can do first reading of bylaw 2025-02 business licensing.
Good, all in favor? Carried. All right, so that's it for the bylaws, and we will move on to the section 11.1, the variance report.
So this is preliminary December, obviously we still have lots to do for audit, but we were at the end of the year, 104.5% of revenue. And 87% of expenses. And I do know that there was some expenses that came through after this was processed. And then I still have to reconcile the capital and stuff, but yeah. So right now we're showing basically an operating gain of $53,000.
And yeah, like, the expenses that are not recorded yet, what are we?
They weren't large ones, they were just like some stuff from Public Works, like maintenance or something. So not a ton.
You know, so you'll find out an actual number down the road.
Yeah, and it'll be very different from this, I'll just tell you that, because this is basically a cash flow statement or an income statement of service. So.
Okay, any other questions on the variance report for anybody?
But it would be different in a good way, not in a bad way.
Well, no, don't say that, because everyone here is gonna start trying to spend that on you already.
No, trust me, my favorite word is no.
No.
Pardon? The nuts and bolts, yeah.
All right, motion to accept the December 24 variance report for information.
I'll make the motion.
All in favor? That is carried. And 11.2, the motion tracker, the final 2024. Donna, you want to go for that, or?
I can, your worship, there's basically only 2. Basically, the motion to direct administration to reach out to other municipalities to gauge interest in lobbying for SPCA. We have done that, I just haven't wrote the letter. With other municipalities, I've got 2 or 3, even down south, that are interested, perhaps coming on, like Pinoca and Rimbey and a few others. So I'm just in between all these other things. I just kind of wanted to get a little more than just our little area here. So that is still in progress, but the letter will come forth to you before the end of February. And motion 24-12-343 to create an agenda, space, and time for a meeting with our MLA. It's outstanding. It awaits closed meeting conditions to be met before progress will continue. Hold it. Make sure I got the right one here. Hang on. Oh yes. Okay, that's a lease agreement, and that's in. We'll put that as 24-12-343. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, that's for the intervention meeting.
Sorry, that's what I thought.
Yeah, you're talking about 2 different ones all in one.
Yeah, you're right.
thing,
It's
yeah.
all in one thing.
Technically, that very first yellow one, that's from 2023. That's why that's not on this.
I think we all kind of know what's going on with
I
that.
think you do. Yeah, it's in hiatus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're working with, sorry, I'll go back to talking in English here. We're working with, the MLA to determine the date and time. We're working with his office, just busy working.
And there's gonna be an informal discussion, not a,
Correct.
okay, great.
Informal discussion, not a full council meeting, it'll be informal.
Yeah, so we can actually ask, have,
Yeah.
questions and responses rather than,
Yeah,
yeah.
rather than a presentation. Yeah, that's in the works. We're hoping to align that in February.
All right, anybody have any other questions on the tractor there? That's not too bad. Okay, a motion to accept the, final, motion tracker for 2024. All in favor? That's carried. All right, we don't have any correspondence, so I guess we'll just go to, public comments. Ladies at the back there. And gentlemen too. Anybody have anything they want to bring up?
Good, you were in camera, or having a camera meeting about water,
Yes.
and you were gonna have some kind of not necessarily an announcement, but some information on it, maybe that, where that's, sitting right now? What level or of completion is it, or is it near completion?
It is in camera for a reason, it's a discussion that's in camera.
It was, yeah, that's what you did last.
And it is still in camera.
It still is at this point.
Yeah, we've done more stuff on it, obviously, and that's all I can tell you.
Okay.
We're working, and, as Corey said, Donnie, you got anything you want to?
I would tell you if we're close or far, but it's still in camera, so I can.
There you go.
I understand that after you had your last meeting there, I thought you were saying that you were gonna have some kind of information for the council meeting here, but if you don't, you know.
I will say we were going to, with what we're doing, we have to follow certain government regulations and certain government acts. They have created, different timelines for us. Before we can talk to the public, we have to satisfy the minister what we're doing, and then we will tell you.
Okay.
We are bound to tell you once certain milestones have been hit that the minister approves appropriate to the regulation.
It's gonna happen before election.
Some of it definitely will, yes. Good stuff is gonna happen before the election, yeah.
Irene?
No, it's my turn.
We've missed you, Irene.
Okay.
I've had lots of things to say during the past few weeks, but I've forgotten some of them. One of them is the roads, but that's always a problem with the meeting anyway, so it's no use discussing that. And the other one, I've thought about it quite a lot, and I've spoken to some of the administration about it. If you run for council or in any job, you have to make the commitment that you're going to attend. And it's nothing personal, but I'm glad to see that Councillor Miller is here tonight. Most of the meetings I've attended, he's not been here. And I was told when I questioned it, outside the meeting, that he comes into the office and he gets updated as to what has been going on at the meetings or in council in general. And that's okay. However, if he isn't there at a meeting and he cannot vote, then you could have a problem because he can't discuss his concerns. It's all right being on Zoom, but that's not always the best way. So I'm just saying that when elections come up in October, I hope the people that are running understand that they should attend the majority of the meetings. Otherwise, their viewpoints can't count.
All right, thank you for that, yeah.
I have a couple for you.
Yep.
As a previous land developer, I get where you're going, like you guys have already made a decision on this here. But regarding the fence in the back, because it is dual zoned, there should be two side fences as well. And
Well-
I believe in your,
Yeah, that's right, yeah, we did
You
say it
didn't
has
add
to be
that.
side, yeah, it has to be side fences to the discretion of the, you know, to the satisfaction of the development authority, right? So what that looks like, I don't know, but
no, I get it, I'm just saying, first it was proposed just as the back one, and
Yeah.
I'm surprised somebody didn't catch that. Like, what about the two sides? Because you're going dual.
She did say that.
yeah, that's what I, like, we did catch that, that's what I added there.
Yeah.
That's what you added, that's what I'm saying to you, I'm surprised this wasn't caught
Okay,
prior to this.
yeah.
Okay, just because you guys are trying to bring more business into town, and there's a lot of questions about what you can and what you can't do, right?
Yeah.
So my other question would be is, and I know you guys haven't gone through this fully yet, are you guys issuing 2 water meters to that property? Because there's a residential and a commercial building on there?
I believe our bylaws that each property, like each like parcel only gets 1 meter, as far as I remember.
So is this all one parcel or is this a
Yeah.
dual?
One lot.
Just one parcel? So I guess I'm asking for you guys to give me your thoughts on that. You have a residential property and you have a commercial property, and it is a greenhouse. So there's gonna be a lot more water going to the greenhouse than normal. I understand you get billed, but, and then how, are you billing, when you come to your taxes, is this all gonna be billed out as a PC, directly, like as one?
That's like.
Because there's residential is what I'm saying.
But yeah, things are done as your property taxes are assessed based on the property value by a third-party assessor, and then times the notary, right? So, the mechanics of who's gonna put what valuation on it as a result of there being the dual component, that's a discussion that we are purposely legally kept out of. That is none of our business, that, you know, as far as.
But are you asking these questions is what I'm
Well,
getting
the
at.
assessor will assess it as partial residential, partial, he'll assign a value to the residential part, and he'll assign a
How
value.
he does
to the
that though,
commercial.
how he assigns it,
And
though,
the
we
commercial
legally are
will get
kept out
billed
of.
as a
No, I
commercial.
understand the process, I'm
Yeah.
just wondering if this has been thought of as well, or not.
Well, yeah, the
There's
assessor,
lots of mixed use.
the assessor gets the
uh,
development permits, he gets all the stuff, and then he assesses it as per
Two
his.
separate-
But yeah,
Yeah.
we don't discuss it because it's none of our business, frankly. Well, whose property is assessed for what value, we have no say and no discretion in, we can't change it, we don't have any authority over it, we just get a number at the end of the day.
Yeah, we send the assessor, we send them, what, 4 times a year?
Yes, if we have.
All our development permits and all our permits, and he takes that information and he does with it what he does, and we get a report at the end.
My concern here, and just laying it out, is, prior to you guys getting onto council and having proper people under control, a lot of stuff was done sideways. That's what I'm coming up with research that I'm finding in the past. So just to make sure that it's continued and carried on the right way.
Yeah, there used to be for decades, there was a lot of things that were just done on a handshake and promise.
Exactly,
And
that's
then
exactly my point.
The reason why I had to do a
You guys have taken
15-minute
over,
long
you've gotten
motion
into
earlier.
this, so, like you're being more proactive, I guess, is maybe the word is what I'm getting at.
Get the right people.
Okay.
And one other thing, when you're doing that project, the residences that are on the other side of the tracks, when you're talking about lighting back there for parking lots and everything else, is there gonna be like,
It's
you know,
explicitly
blinding
stated,
lighting?
no, it's explicitly stated that it's to be, like, the lighting is to be directed on their site.
Yeah, that's all I was.
Yeah, that was included in that.
Consider that when you're doing it.
That's part of the motion, to be considered.
It was in there, I don't wanna reread the whole thing, but.
Okay.
I actually don't think I caught it all, could you? Now, is that fence to keep the kids off the track?
Yeah.
That's a laugh and a half.
Wow.
That is a big joke, because kids are always on that
And
track.
that's poor parenting as far as I'm concerned, but at a certain
It is,
point,
but
us
they
making sure there's a fence, is at least us doing our due diligence. We're at least making it harder for kids to do so. But I mean, if their parents are gonna let them, then their parents are gonna let them. I can't be everyone's grandma.
When the kids settle, they use it as a cut through.
Well, they won't be able to now, because there's gonna be a building in the way.
Oh, they'll find a way.
Well, they'll have to go around the fence, so it's gonna be really inconvenient for them.
They'll find a way, don't worry.
Good questions. Anything else? No? All right, I'm gonna take a recess here at 8:06 for 10 minutes, and we'll come back in camera. Thank you very much.